And catching up with some Roush Fenway teammates, starting first with Matt Kenseth. You had issues earlier. Everything good to go now?
I hope so. I had about everything break today. So I don't know, something in the water system was stuck and it just kept pumping water out no matter what the temperature was until I about ran it out of water and we had to pit and get that fixed. So everything seems to be pretty good. Our Best Buy Ford is pretty fast. I think Greg's probably got the strongest car here tonight, but our car's pretty fast. Hopefully we can keep it up in the front. It's going to get crazy at the end when cars start pushing. I don't know if it matters who has the fastest car, but our car's pretty good and hopefully we can keep it in position.
You've been in different parts of the pack. What impresses you most about the response that you've gotten from your car?
Once you get it up front, it's harder than it looks to come from the back to the front. You really got to have the right guys, pushing you and get the right runs, and it's a little more difficult than I thought it would be, kind of like it was on Thursday. So it's going to be important to be the front. It's going to be important to have some friends up there that want to work with you at least until you get off of turn 4. All
right, well, good luck later tonight. We'll catch up with Carl Edwards. You had a major issue. You were telling your team on the radio that you were either hoping for Frosted Flakes or Cheez-Its.
Or some Subway would be nice. I can't believe you came all the way over here and didn't bring something to eat for all of us.
Well, we didn't have really enough room in the truck for food.
Yeah, Matt ordered some food, but the NASCAR didn't bring it yet. So, yeah, we're just obviously excited to get this thing fixed and go finish this race. We got a pretty good fast and all fusion. Maybe not as good as Greg and Matt's cars, but Matt's messing with you right now. No, our car is very good, and we had a little fuel issue at one point, and
it's called focus.
Yeah, I think Matt was messing with the fuel system earlier or something, but once we got that worked out, I think we're going to be good. It's going to be good.
Now, when you try to describe the action on the racetrack for the fans at home from your cockpit, what it's called electronics, Matt. What would you describe it for the fan at home of what you're seeing? Compared to years past.
Right now, the cars get lined up in 2 rows. It's hard to move back up to the front. So what I'm trying to do is choose my time to go up there and charge to the front, and the laps are winding down. So we'll do it here pretty soon. But it looks a little differently because the road gets blocked. You can't just charge up there. It's not like you can get with one guy and run up on the outside and pass everybody. So it's taking longer to go to the front.
Greg, it seemed like during the duel and even in practice that a lot of guys were saying that the bottom line, it was much more difficult to get a good run. The top line was the more preferred line, but it seemed like almost the reverse tonight sometimes.
Yeah, it does. It seems like the bottom, but for some reason, the top can get a run sometimes. I've been unsuccessful about getting at the top to get a run in the top. And, I watched Denny and some of those other guys. They weren't even hooked up, and they got the line to go, and were able to get to the lead. So, I don't know if our car's a little draggy or something when it gets there, but it pushes good. And we've been able to maintain the bottom, and the car's handling good. So those are, 3, attributes you need to win the Daytona 500. And I feel pretty good about where we're at.
A great call in 2003 when you won the July race here on fuel mileage. Looking at the race tonight, counting it down as far as how many laps out when you need to start to make your move to head toward the front, are you going to tell your spotter to count you down? And what lap do you think that would be?
My plan for tonight has been to stay at the front, stay as close to the front as I can. So I'm racing as hard as I can. Matt told me we're good on fuel right now. We're not planning on making any more pit stops for this race. So we're going to go to the end from here.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Mike?
Well, you're familiar with Bear Bond, which is an adhesive that's used on the bumpers of cars to hold them together during these races. This is a product, must be its cousin, called Street Bond. It's a very, very fast setting kind of sealer or filler. The man in the yellow fire suit is Dave Blaney. He's the leader of the Daytona 500, having raced his way into the 500 by finishing 12th in his dual race. He's finished 3rd in NASCAR Sprint Cup 3 times, most recently at Talladega last October. Back driving for Bill Davis, nearly won a Cup race at Atlanta. Had some problems, didn't make it to the flag. He's a World of Outlaws sprint car champion. His son races. He's got a great outlook. He got into the top 35 in owner points last season, but his owner snatched that golden ticket, applied it to a different team, and said, Dave, you're going to have to race your way into the 500 again. He did, and he now has the lead as everybody's having a little fun with the Brad Keselowski sprint phone. They try to get this track back in raceable condition to run the final 40 laps of the 500. And it looks like they may send the blowers there and send the drivers back to their cars. to a huge roar from the grandstand here that remains 3/4 full.
And I looked at Montoya coming down that back straightaway. On second look, he was going pretty fast.
Martin Truex has banked the midway payday, $200,000. 7 caution flags, 1 red flag, the one we're working right now. But there are still 29 drivers hopeful of winning this race. Clint Boyer, -2. Joe Nemechek, 7 laps down. Michael McDowell, 13. A.J. Allmendinger, Trevor Bayne, Danica Patrick, and Kurt Busch further back, but still running.
Larry,
Turn 3.
how far could Blaney go if he didn't pit right now?
Well, he
Another 20 laps?
No, he was on pit road at lap 130, so he could probably go about 14 to 16 laps. But Krista, I get a feeling they're going to be on pit road pretty quick here.
Larry Mack, I love your math skills. I just talked to Ryan Pemberton. He said 15 laps, 1.5 is the most they can go. They wanted Dave to go through that patch on the track to make sure it wasn't bumpy. They just radioed and said, Dave, how does it feel? He said, no, not really bumpy, so I think we're okay. They're planning to come to pit road with 1 to go before we go green.
Kenseth, Biffle pull a car length on Junior and Harvick.
That's 2 fast forwards in that outside lane, and Dale Jr.'s got a fast car down on the bottom with Harvick pushing. I think you're looking at the two really fast cars that have a good shot at hanging on to this lead, with Biffle and Kenseth up there in the 16 and 17.
Double wide off turn 2.
Boy, you got to wonder, you got to worry, you got to think.
$190 miles an hour off into turn 3 through the speedy dry cleanly.
Never even bobbled.
8 cars on the bottom, leading. A dozen double file, and then 3 wide with Castle in the middle.
Hamlin could drop in line right there, and he did. He got in front of his team. Oh, there's a car off in the grass. More cars off in the grass.
3 cars sliding. Marcus Ambrose is 1.
It's Casey Mears, the 13 that they just had lapped.
Caution.
I'm just so those lap cars are so hard to get around when you're coming up on them 20 mile an hour faster than the lap cars going.
And there's Mears, and Ambrose gets away after that big spin. Fortunate, Darrell, that more cars weren't involved.
It looked like it was going to be a wad of them, but they all got them straightened out.
So let's have a look. Here's Casey Mears, and watch the blue car, the 43 of Eric Almirola, as this gets started.
Just gets real tight heading off in the corner down here. Again, Casey is getting lapped.
Stenhouse got into Almirola across the front of Mears and then Ambrose. 18 laps from the checkered flag. Green flag.
Kenseth might be in trouble getting that 4 out on that restart. That outside line is going to have a pretty good head of steam, but he pulls up in front of Greg Biffle like Greg Biffle did him in the qualifying race.
Yeah, he saw that line coming, and he jumped up there just at the last second. Now he's getting a shove from Biffle, his teammate in the 16.
Those are the 2 best cars, the 16 and the 17. It's just a matter of whether they can hang together and work together.
And they were 6 miles an hour faster than the pack going into the corner, as Kenseth moved up and found his teammate, Greg Biffle. Biffle now Kenseth's wingman. Dale Jr. pushing Biffle right up to Kenseth's bumper.
Boy, he is. I mean, they had a head of steam coming down into the oval here. Dale Jr. was going to try to push Greg Biffle to the lead, but Biffle would have nothing of it. He stayed behind his teammate.
Harvick's 29 on the high side with his teammate, Jeff Burton. The alliances are forming.
I think Dale Jr. is going to have to rethink his strategy a little bit. He's got 2 Fords in front of him. He's got a Toyota behind him. He really is kind of in no man's land right now by himself. Oh, trouble. Big trouble. Big trouble.
Mid-pack. Sliding and spinning into the infield, McMurray. And sliding up the racetrack. One car going to coast to the bottom. That's Eric Almirola. Regan Smith was in it, and Casey Kane. The left side of his car torn up, and we're back under caution for
Regan
the ninth
Smith.
time at lap 188.
Almirola, the one car there, McMurray's the one I saw. Man, he was spinning around like a top.
Carl Edwards has damage to the right front, our pole sitter.
Mid-pack, you see McMurray right back here. He's the first guy I saw go around in the... Got a little wobble.
I believe he blew a left rear tire. That thing started wiggling around, and as he came into the tri-oval, it spun out, and when it came to a stop, you can see the left rear tire is completely torn apart. So I think he had a cut tire, and the thing just got away from him.
Yeah, he was wobbling through the tri-oval there, and finally went around with him.
Another driver involved, Brad Keselowski, right there.
Wonder
All
if
right.
Brad twittered that.
Right
Probably not.
there is McMurray.
Yeah, Keselowski and the 2 just drove underneath Casey Kane in the 5. Just nowhere to go.
As Brad Keselowski walked out of the care center, I asked him if he's okay, and that's the only reason that we'll sort of joke about this. What took more damage, your car or your phone?
The car, by far. And it's really disappointing. You know, we had fought really hard all race long to be towards the front so we could be in front of the wrecks, and had to come in and pit under that last yellow and got towards the back. And when something happens and you're back there, you just you can't get out of it. But you know, that's Daytona. That's how this racing is. It's been a long few weeks in Daytona, and we'll move on to Phoenix. And you know, I think we've got really good cars throughout the season. We had a good one tonight, and I'm proud of everybody at Penske Racing for that. So take the Miller Lite Dodge on to Phoenix. But before we go, I want to just send a shout out to all the fans still watching. I know it's late at night. We've gone through rain delays, fire delays, but you guys are still here, and I just want to say thank you.
It's a spotter, Mike Kalanoff, as the green flag waves. 7 laps to go. Junior pushing Kenseth down toward turn 1.
Tell you, that 16 car, though, he is stout. That's a fast car, and he's got a fast car pushing him. We saw Hamlin push to the lead earlier in the race.
4 cars trying to settle among themselves. Kenseth coming to the outside lane to pick up his teammate Biffle, and does. Single file again.
And now they'll go to the bottom. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 88 was fortunate enough to be able to fall back in 4th spot there. I thought he was going to get kicked way out of line.
I did too, but you know what? That is teamwork right there. That's what they didn't have in the 150. Kenseth really helped Biffle out right there by pulling out and getting him and pulling him up there behind him. Now they should be able to settle it probably between themselves.
6 laps to go. On the outside lane, teammates Mark Martin and his new teammate Martin Truex. 2 Toyotas going to try to push their way to the front, but a long way to go to get there.
And Darrell, unless that outside line gets to moving, Matt Kenseth, his best friend right now is that double yellow line.
Oh, I think right now, Larry, everybody say, okay, let's ride right here. Let's hold what we got. Don't anybody panic, because it's going to be a drag race off turn 4. That's where these races have been won every time down here this week.
And 14, Tony Stewart.
And there's Tony Stewart's teammate, Ryan Newman. Oh, Tony's going around. Another wreck to the tri-oval.
Kyle Busch, hard slide through the grass, no contact. At least half a dozen cars involved in this one. Dave Blaney drives away. That's Kyle Busch. Caution flag number 10 with 4 laps to go. Landon Castle, or excuse me, David Rudiman.
You know, Tony got around, but I don't know if he got a lot of damage or not. I see a lot of body damage, and tires that got the side rubbed off them, but the car didn't look that bad once he got it straightened out.
Let's check with Matt.
EW, he just told Steve Addington, I pretty much said that we're going to need tires, but I got it.
See here, here's 39 up here. Right there. Stenhouse got into the side, and Stenhouse in the 6 got into Tony.
I'm not sure, though, that David Gilliland didn't get into the back of Stenhouse and push him up into Tony.
Could have to look at it again.
that's about the second or third wreck we've seen on the exit of the tri-oval. It just starts narrowing up right there.
Cars are really free and loose right through the tri-oval. I'm telling you, you're running 200 mile an hour through there. It's hard to hang on sometime.